Does it look good?
Yep.
Okay, so for the audience, this is today's challenge. It's called Fairy Efficient. The objective is to collect all 20 fairies while minimizing your counter. So each runner has a counter. They have to count up every time that they change Kongs in any way, meaning if they use a tag barrel to change Kongs, or if they are in the cutout fight and that changes their Kong, or in the K-Rool fight and that changes their Kong, or if you were playing as a different Kong other than DK and then you reset and you're back to DK, that also you need to increment your counter. Additionally, anytime that you enter a level, you have to uptick your counter. Specifically entering a level from its lobby, so the main level portal as shown in the artwork. Artwork provided by Not Even Ashamed, as always. So yeah, it's a race to do all the fairies as efficiently as possible. The time that you take to complete the challenge does not really matter. What matters the most is getting all 20 fairies and doing it in the fewest number of Kong switches combined with level entrances. And so the runners are planning it out right now. They have another 3 minutes before they actually will begin.
I think when we were routing this, like just in our heads, it probably took us 20 plus minutes to come to what we thought was the optimal route. So I would not be surprised if runners here do not come up with an optimal route. For what it's worth, when we're thinking about a race like this, we're going to assume you have to be every Kong at least once. It just so happens that there's some fairy that's exclusive to each Kong. So that's already 4 switches. You're going to want to enter every level. So that's 8 levels. So 12 is kind of what we consider par here. Now, it's not actually possible to get 12. There's different kind of branching requirements that make such a thing not feasible, but we're going to see how close they can get to it. I think a reasonable winning score would be about 14 or 15, although we believe you can get as low as 13.
I was reviewing your theory route for 13, and it kind of glossed over the fact that you have to get Diddy up to Fungi without having Key4 spawn the cannon, or like...
Which is doable.
Which is TBS and Telegrab, is that the idea?
You could Telegrab it, or you could just do infinite jump.
Oh, right, okay. But you can't skid jump TBS, so you have to do the fall from above, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it is possible. There's a lot of, like, tricky things that the runners will have to do in order to try to cut down on the additional tags and additional level entrances. This is definitely, like, one of the hardest challenges, if not the hardest challenge so far. Well, definitely the hardest challenge so far. I don't know if next week's challenge is harder than this. It kind of depends.
How much time do the runners have left?
They have about a minute.
Okay. Let's make sure not to miss that. So there are some really nasty fairies in this challenge. I think one of the most painful ones is that you could easily forget about is Fungi Lobby. That requires Tiny up in a place where Tiny has no business being. But there is going to be a few scattered throughout that will make people really have to think about how is this all going to line up.
We got some good questions from the runners, like, if you enter the cutout fight, does that count as a +1? It does if you enter with someone other than Lanky. But if you enter the cutout fight with Lanky, it does not add 1. Yeah, correct. Deaths and void warps do not increment, do not count as entering a level, but exit enter does count. Okay, hopefully everyone knows what they need to do. I'm going to start the race timer now.
All right, and hopefully we see people going, or else.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that they're probably going to want to still think about this until they, I mean, before they enter their first level or make any hard commitments about about what to do.
But at the very least, you can watch this opening cutscene.
So, when I tested this challenge, first thing I did was I just kind of noted all of the banana fairies that require a Kong other than DK to collect. Or just any fairies, really, that require specific Kongs. And what we found was, in Factory, there's one fairy that requires Tiny. In Jungle Japes, there's one fairy that requires Lanky. In Caves, each fairy requires a particular Kong. You have Diddy for one of them and Tiny for the other. In Fungi, also, DK is needed for one of the fairies and Diddy is needed for another. And then in Galleon, you need Chunky for one of the two fairies. And this is, you know, assuming that you can use whatever glitches you want. This is still, you know, Kong requirements that you cannot use glitches to get around.
Adam, for some reason, is skipping Dive Barrel, which is very much a mistake.
Huh.
Because you need Chunky's Primate Punch at the very least for the fairy and Factory.
Oh
lobby.
yeah, and I was mostly paying attention to fairies that require a certain Kong in levels because of the level entrance being a thing that you need to minimize. But also, you need Chunky for one of the Isles fairies, and you also need Tiny and her gun for one of the other Isles fairies. So a lot of the difficulty around this challenge revolves around Fungi, Caves, because they both have two fairies that are locked to certain Kongs, as well as the Fungi Lobby fairy being only for Tiny, and like you have to think, how are you going to get Tiny up to Fungi Lobby without tagging DK to do Fungi early? Or are you going to do it like after you finish the Fungi fairies, or are you going to maybe try to get her up there a different way?
I think we might see Key 4, to be honest, from someone.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think it's the worst idea.
It's definitely not the worst idea. But also, like, freeing Kongs is really tricky in this. You can't just, like, go and do kut-out to free all your Kongs, because that counts as a Kong switch each time that you toss a Kong away to get to the later ones in the fight. So that's clearly not going to be optimal.
Diddy is obviously going to come from Japes.
Yeah, and Lanky, you should... Well, Lanky, because he's the first one in kut-out, it's not really a problem to free him there. But it does force you to immediately start playing as Lanky, whereas if you free Lanky in Aztec with DK, you can have him available for later, but still continue to do stuff with DK. So I'd say freeing Diddy and Lanky organically is definitely the right move. Similarly, freeing Chunky organically is definitely better than freeing him from kut-out, because he's the third Kong in the fight. With Tiny,
I think in our routes, Tiny was actually freed through kut-out.
Yeah, Tiny is the only Kong that I think you could make the argument to free out of kut-out instead of an Aztec. Because you have to switch to Diddy to free her in Aztec anyway, and if you are already playing as Lanky, when you get to Castle, you can use Lanky to switch over to Tiny for kut-out.
That said, there is a route where you do actually free Tiny organically, because you like do Japes first and then bring Diddy there, but everyone else will probably see organic for sure.
Yeah, so Tiny is the second Kong in the kut-out order, so it would cost, 1 to 2 Kong switches, and obviously just one Kong switch is the least that you can do if you're switching to another Kong. So you can either do it like optimally if you enter the fight with Lanky, or if you enter with someone else, then it would cost an extra one. But yeah, when I did this challenge, actually let me go and see, because I had told Ringrush about my experience with testing this. What did I actually do? I'm pretty sure I got a score of like 16 or something, where I revisited like 3 levels or something, and maybe had to tag like Diddy twice or something. I don't exactly remember what I did.
I like going to Aztec first here. I think there's no reason not to, unless you really wanted to free Tiny organically, because this gets you Lanky, which again will help you get Tiny and Castle, and
Right.
you can get both fairies first visit very easily, or not easily, but with some with some clips.
Yeah, and DK can get both fairies and Aztec, no problem.
Just to be clear, since it was just asked in chat, Helm is a level.
Yes. Entering Helm counts as one of the points toward the challenge.
So one thing I do want to see is people going to Helm early
I
on.
want to remind Adam to increase his counter because he entered a level, as well as Obiyo. Yeah. Did Obiyo
So we already
do
see
it?
2 people Aztec and 2 people Japes. If you want to do the optimal 13 route, you do need to go to Aztec first and not Japes. That said, I do not expect anyone to do the optimal 13 route.
Yeah, so something that Adam did almost to like no reason in the last challenge was the crown warp, wrong warp into Cranky's lab, which then takes you to Jungle Japes. That would actually potentially save you a level entry in this challenge. But just knowing that you could do that, it's still pretty difficult to decide how to basically work it in, because there's not that many crowns that you can really use as DK to come from to do that and also be making good fairy progress. I think the best one is probably Fungi, because DK has a fairy that only he can get in Fungi. And most likely, I think you're going to have to be making like 2 trips to Fungi to do... Like either 2 trips to Fungi or an extra Kong switch in Fungi for the best route. Okay,
So
Obiyo and CandyBoots forgot to update their counters. I'm going to remind them again.
well, this is the one race where I feel like we might actually have a chance of keeping track of this stuff.
Yeah.
As opposed to counting on runners.
Yeah, I think that we should be able to keep a watch, because it's not something that should happen very often, right? Like, it's not like they're counting up to a huge number.
And of course, it's not a fairy challenge without fairy pictures. Because for all this thinking, you also just have to deal with the pain that is getting fairies to cooperate.
Yeah. Actually, there is a bit of a problem with going to Jungle Japes first, and it's that the second fairy in Japes requires Lanky, and they don't have Lanky unlocked yet, so they're gonna have to come back to that later. Although, they could use the Crown Warp to Japes to not incur an additional level entrance.
Yep.
For that Lanky fairy.
But this also lets you free Diddy early, which has its advantages as well.
True.
Like Forest.
Yeah. When I did this challenge, I think I did actually do what Bismuth's doing, like free Diddy and get P1 in my first Japes trip, and then I think I basically freed Tiny organically in Aztec. Actually, I'm not 100% sure that I did that, but no, that sounds like what I did.
And to be clear, in the cutscenes, if it shows Diddy reacting to Dogadon, that is not. It's a freeing DK count. We're going into the DK lore. Freeing anyone doesn't count in fact. It's tagging them, not freeing them.
Yeah.
Is Adam getting double keys?
Key 2 and key
Or did I
5?
missee something? I thought he just got key 5, unless he messed up and didn't get the key spawn.
I wasn't watching too closely. Okay.
Or maybe I just saw CandyBoots get the key and got confused. Right after I said we could actually follow along this time.
Yeah, it's
Silly me.
still kind of hard to follow along, but yeah. And I'm also like just being absolutely sure that everyone who has a question is being answered, basically.
Yep.
But okay, so let's see, where are we going now? Bismuth is grabbing coins because he didn't get enough coins, I guess. It's funny to see. But yeah, he's gonna be freeing Diddy. Obiyo just freed Diddy. I don't expect them to tag Diddy yet, because there's no reason to be Diddy and James. He doesn't have any, you know, fairy that lock behind him here. Okay, I like what I see from CandyBoots. He's in Aztec and he knows the DK can phase walk to get the second fairy in Aztec. In Tiny Temple. Or in Tiny's Fiber Temple is what I meant to say.
Yep.
So if CandyBoots is, you know, gets his phase walk through here, then he can clear out the Aztec fairies in one trip without any additional tags. That's definitely what you want to do. Another thing that I think will like advantage any percent runners for this challenge is the Helm fairies. You definitely want to just be able to do all of Helm as DK. So, like, if you know DK Helm early and DK Helm to get those two fairies, you can do that like anytime toward the beginning of the challenge, and it doesn't add any. Well, I mean, it adds the one for entering Helm, but you would have had to do that anyway.
Yeah.
So I think when I did this challenge, I think I actually just started by getting the Helm fairies, because that gave me more time to think about which other levels to enter first. I just started by doing DK Helm.
If you can phase walk, you actually have a few options for Helm, because Helm doesn't really require any tagging. So for instance, Tiny can monkey port up there, grab her fairy, and then just do Helm.
Oh, I didn't really think about that. Yeah, I guess you could do Helm with anyone as long as you can phase walk to the end.
You're going to want someone who can climb the slope at the start, is the big thing.
Although,
which is why Tiny would be nice.
The reason DK is nicest is because of the reset or save and quit. Because that forces you back to DK.
True.
Unless you save Helm for your last level.
You save it for your last level, or you use the Helm timer in order to store a flashback warp in order to enter a level early.
That was the other idea that I kept trying to play around with for this challenge. Can you successfully use the Helm timer to set up a flashback warp to warp a Kong between two levels that both have fairies that's required for that Kong to be going to? I kept trying to theorize this, and I kept just getting my, getting confused, scratching my head, because honestly, like, even for me, trying to theorize how to route this as efficiently as possible is, like, too hard.
Yeah, I didn't even think much about, like, I pretty quickly dismissed flashback warp when I was routing this originally. But now that I think about it, like, when I realize you don't need to do Helm with DK, that does open up some more possibilities, so.
Yeah.
Maybe 12 is possible. I would have to think about it more, but it's definitely a thing you can do. That said, I don't expect any of our runners, except perhaps Adam, to do anything with the Helm timer, but it is a thing.
Alright, so CandyBoots got his two fairies. I think he freed Lanky and got key 5, which is everything that you would really want to do out of Aztec. Obiyo is about to enter Aztec, so this should be his second uptick. Hopefully he remembers this time. Yep, he does. Okay, and Adam looks like he's going to Castle right now. This is a little scary because A, he already has Lanky from Aztec. So I don't see why you want to... Like, does he realize that you have to tick up every Kong switch that's in the kut-out fight?
I hope he does. I mean, it's not the worst play. You can always come back to DK at the end. I think you could probably get a pretty good route going Lanky right away.
Well, he's entered Castle.
Oh, it doesn't feel good.
It might be fine if he doesn't plan to free anyone here. Like, he could just get both fairies with DK. Yeah, but then where you free
Lanky
Tiny,
and then Tiny.
You have to free Tiny either here or in Aztec. And there's, like, he already cleared Aztec, so...
And he also didn't increment his counter for when he entered castle, so hopefully he's
Yeah.
thinking through the consequences of some of his actions.
Yeah.
Look at CandyBoots.
CandyBoots is going to Japes after Aztec. I like this.
He's going out of bounds to Japes, which I find hilarious. You do
Well,
need to
he
actually...
didn't have any GBs, yeah.
Yeah, but he had key 5, so he could have turned it in.
Oh, that's
and got
true.
the gold banana.
Right. That is a good point. Okay, but I kind of like what CandyBoots is doing because specifically going Aztec before Japes meant that he has Lanky unlocked already, and he could tag Lanky and get this fairy here without having to come back to Japes later. Although,
yeah, and this will free Diddy.
And of course free Diddy with DK before tagging Lanky. So this is okay. The only problem is like he's gonna have to tag DK again later for Fungi's fairy that's locked behind DK only. But
yeah,
you know what? That might be fine because he might be. If he does the route where he gets key 4 before doing like caves and fungi, then maybe he can sort of route caves like Tiny into Diddy and then Diddy up to take the cannon up to fungi.
We're at the place where runners could probably make what they're doing work, but they're certainly not doing things in the easiest order. Or in like the most efficient order.
Yeah. This challenge is just so hard to get perfect. Like I said, yeah. I was at least like 3 additional switches and level entrances over what we can theorize as being ideal. But yeah, I mean, what Adam is going for is he's doing levels where he knows he can get both fairies with DK. That's why he started with Aztec, that's why he's going to Castle, because he knows DK can get both fairies here. And honestly, in our ideal route, I think you have to get, like, the Castle Tree Fairy as either Lanky or Tiny, and that is not trivial.
Is it that hard? Can't you just, like...
There is a phase walk, but it's a very narrow phase walk angle, and most of the walls don't work.
I was thinking just orange assisted attack at the wall.
Okay, I mean, sure, but even that is not so guaranteed. What I found to be like, you know, if you can phase walk, the best would be you can phase walk through the Primate Punch wall, go over to near where the Beaver Bother barrel is, and phase walk through the left side wall of that cage, and that'll take you out of bounds. But I don't think most people would know that you can do that.
Yeah, that's very specific knowledge.
It's not
Which this challenge tests a lot of very specific knowledge. Like, if I see someone do Tiny Forest early, like, is optimal, I'm going to be very impressed.
Yeah, that was the one thing that I think I did properly when I playtested this, like that I don't expect everyone to do, is I figured that for getting the fairy in Fungi Lobby, since I didn't want to incur like an additional level entry or additional Kong switch, I waited until I was using Tiny for other fairies, and then when I was in Isles with Tiny, I used her Ponytail Twirl to basically like do a fungi early up from DK Isles as Tiny, which is very difficult, but it is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Obiyo just took a death, but that's okay. CandyBoots is stopping to think. He's tagged Lanky, and he has to get the other fairy in Japes now. Or maybe he already got the fairy in Japes, and he's thinking about what to do next.
I think he just got the gun, because he needs, we just need Simeon Slam. Does he even have that yet?
Maybe he doesn't, but he can get that without any problems,
Yeah.
right? Oh, wait, Adam's... Oh, holy crap. Oh, Adam.
Oh, no, Adam. No.
Every Kong switch is what counts.
Yeah.
You are needing to count for every time you enter the fight as non-Lanky, and for every time you throw away a Kong. Well, let me just pull in Adam now. This
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's not here. But...
Yeah. You might want to restart.
Yeah. Which, you can restart, If you feel like you're messing up that badly and you still have time, then you can restart. So I would recommend that he would.
Yeah, okay. Adam doesn't understand what a Kong switch is. I need to pull him in. God damn. Alright, how do we prevent this from happening?
I don't know. We gave time for questions. Luckily, it was early enough that you could totally do this whole thing in an hour.
Yeah, he could definitely restart and be okay. But, like, I have lost track at how many times he's switched Kongs.
Yeah, and hopefully he doesn't think this is optimal, and like that was just like spoilers that it wasn't optimal. But no, there's no way you could think that freeing Diddy through this is optimal.
Because he just freed like every Kong, and he's entering with Chunky, so then like switching from Chunky to Lanky.
Well, he is incrementing his counter, which makes me think that he knows, and he's just thinks
I
that's the way to do it.
I don't think he incremented the counter every time.
It's at 8.
It's at 8, but is that accurate?
I don't know.
Is 8?
Because freeing Diddy would be 4. Freeing Chunky would be another 3. Okay, yeah, no, that's too low. It should be even higher than that. Alright, well, looks like he's restarted, which is probably the best move at this point. Again, he has time. He lost 20 minutes, but that is also 20 minutes of thinking time, which could even benefit him in the end.
Yeah.
If it means he takes more optimal route. But yeah, that was a really painful start, if we were to continue with that. Okay, anyways, back to other runners. Looks like CandyBoots is getting Lanky's Japes fairy, so that's good. If you came to Japes with Lanky and you did not get this fairy, then that would be quite depressing indeed. Bismuth is trying his hand at phase walking for this tiny fairy. Sorry, this fairy that normally is gotten as tiny in Angry Aztec. The challenge is to get all 20 fairies while trying to limit the amount of times you either A, switch Kongs, or B, enter level portals. So, big routing challenge. The number you see on each person's screen is how many times they've done one of those two things. And there we go. Bismuth with that fairy. Nice.
The information for the challenge up one more time. Yeah, so the idea is, you have to collect all... Actually, you just explained it, right? You have to collect all the fairies while minimizing level entrances and times that you switch a Kong. You have to be very efficient.
Okay, so Adam's back to the start, but again, not the end of the world.
That doesn't necessarily hurt him too much.
Yeah.
Yes, he has 20 fewer minutes to complete the challenge, but he probably will go into the second playthrough with a clearer idea of what to do first.
Obiyo taking time for a think, always good.
Yep. So Obiyo and Bismuth have basically both visited Japes and Aztec and freed Diddy and Lanky each, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I hope that both of them think of doing next, although like you pointed out, you don't have to do this now, but I would like to see them both tackle DK Helm. But I actually think that Bismuth and Obiyo might be the kind of runners that don't know how to do it or aren't super familiar with it. So maybe
hopefully
they'll try
they think
to
of
do
Tiny
Helm as... Yeah, Tiny Helm would be okay. Yeah, I think when they get Tiny, doing Tiny Helm is the right play. What I would like to see CandyBoots do, because he's Lanky right now, is if he goes to Castle now, he's already gotten the only Lanky required fairy in Japes, right?
Yep.
And he's opening Castle, so if he goes to Castle, he can enter Cutout as Lanky, not incur an additional count, and then free Tiny in just one count. And then start doing
one thing,
Helm and other things.
I actually don't want him to do that. I want him to go to Factory and free Chunky.
Oh, right, because freeing Chunky...
That's going to be another tag to Lanky if you don't...
Yeah, you're right. I think freeing freeing Chunky and Factory first is better. Even though you have to revisit Factory once you have Tiny. But, yeah, I don't actually know which one is worse, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess when you come back to Factory later, you would have to... You just
then it's an
tag
extra
Lanky
level
an extra
visit.
time.
Yeah, it's either an extra Lanky tag or an extra level visit, regardless of what you do.
So I guess it's not...
It's probably
I guess it's
not
fine.
really worse, yeah. Obiyo is thinking about going to caves as DK. He doesn't even have Tiny free yet. So he can't get both fairies here.
CandyBoots has entered Aztec, Japes, tagged Lanky, so his counter should be at 4. I think
Yeah.
he got that one.
Yeah, and Obiyo needs to increment to 3. I'm also just gonna preemptively warn Candy about each Kong switching cutout.
Yeah.
Obiyo forgot to count.
Yeah, Adam restarted because he started freeing Kongs through cutout. Like, I guess not understanding fully the implications of that. Meaning, for instance, 5 switches to get to Diddy.
Yeah.
So, it was not worth continuing at that point. Like, the 20 minutes lost is nothing compared to all the points you could save by just starting over.
Yeah, exactly. I have a mild regret at not having a longer time limit on this race. I think 2 hours is actually kind of tough to get all the fairies. I was thinking of making it 3.
I think the problem with something too long is that people would like literally spend an hour routing.
Yeah. Yeah, because when I did this challenge, like, I think it took me close... Was it close to 2 hours? Or was it close to, like, an hour and a half?
We could call an audible.
I wouldn't
if, like,
mind
an hour and a half
giving
in...
more room. More time.
Yeah, if like an hour and a half in, it seems like there's still a chance. Like, we can extend it 15 minutes, 30 minutes. I wouldn't want to extend it a full hour.
Let me see if I can change potentially the... Did I set a 2-hour time limit on race time? That's what I'm worried about. Because it might auto-end. Not sure if I can even edit that in the middle. Yeah, entering a tag row without actually switching Kongs is fine. It's the switching of the Kong that counts. Okay, CandyBoots freed Tiny in Castle. That's a commitment, but it's a commitment that I think is okay.
Yeah, I like it. There's no reason not to, really, because it saves you from tagging Diddy and Aztec, which he's already been to Aztec, so that'd be just like a serious pain.
True, true. And Obiyo switched to... Was Obiyo already playing as Diddy?
I don't think he was.
Did Obiyo tag increment for... No, he definitely didn't.
Japes, Aztec, Caves, Diddy? 4?
Oh yeah, he was incrementing from 2 to 3 when he entered the level. Okay, yeah, you're right. So 4 is correct. And Bismuth is Japes, Aztec, Diddy. For the counters.
Yep. And so he's going to free Tiny here, which is fine. Like...
Yeah, it doesn't increment anything.
I think this is what you had to do if you did Japes first.
Yes.
Like, this is the way to salvage Japes first, is to go and free Tiny.
Yeah, definitely. CandyBoots buying Monkey Port, which is very useful. You're going to want that for the fairy outside helm as well as the fairies inside helm.
Maybe the fairies inside castle.
Maybe. Yeah, if you enter a ballroom... Oh,
I don't know if that's actually worth it, but...
How are you going to get into either ballroom or museum without tagging a different Kong? That's an interesting question.
Orange lag.
You can definitely orange lag into the museum, and maybe he's going to
There's no reason not to do museum, though, because going up to ballroom takes more time. Or... maybe we're going to ballroom.
I hope he remembers to at least free Tiny, like, permanently. Yeah, he's doing that now. Oh, he's switching.
Switching
to
DK.
DK. Maybe because of the castle tree?
Ooh, that's...
Oh no,
yeah,
you can get both fairies in castle with DK.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess he was just freeing Tiny for the sake of freeing Tiny, and then realizes that, okay, I still have more work to do with DK. I still need to go to Forest. I still
Yeah.
need to potentially do Helm.
This isn't the worst.
Yeah, it's not the worst. He's
Not at
just
all. And he's also made
just like I
like the
said to
most
go to
progress in terms of fairies collected, maybe.
just like I said to go to Factory to bank Chunky. This is the same concept. Just go here to bank Tiny, just so you have her for later
Yep.
when you need to switch within a level, which
Mhm.
for her would be caves probably.
Who do you want to pull in for runner interviews first?
I think Bismuth. It seems like he.
Sure.
Well,
'Cause
let's
he's-
give him a chance to go where he needs to go next, and then we can call him in.
Okay, sure. And that's why he got key 1, is because he knew he'd be leaving Aztec, not as DK. And he didn't want to incur a switch to DK on resetting.
Smart.
Yeah.
So where does
Back
he's
to
going
Japes.
back to Japes?
He needs to
hit the
switch to
peanut switch?
Lanky. I wouldn't do this just yet, because you still need to do other fairies with Diddy.
He might think he needs to do the peanut switch. He might not know how
Oh.
to take Lanky in there from out of bounds.
That's an interesting thought. Well, he's doing the counter stuff correctly, at least, so...
Yeah. So he's in Japes. He better switch to Lanky here, otherwise this was obviously a complete waste of time.
I
But
hope he has one. If he doesn't, he's gonna have to do the vines with Diddy.
yeah, so everyone look closely in the top right. All right, now would be the perfect time to bring Bismuth in.
Sure. Yeah, let's do it. Morning, Bismuth.
Nice
Is this a
switch
good
you got
time
there.
for a mid-run interview?
Sure. Yes.
So, what are your thoughts so far in terms of, how, like, what are,
Well,
yeah. How about that?
my
the
first
general
thoughts
question.
immediately was like, this challenge is not gonna be for me. I'm gonna be terrible at it because like people are gonna do flashback warp, memes like that to like save level entries, and I don't know like how to do all of that, so I'm gonna be terrible. But I think
Well,
I actually have a decent shot.
Yeah, I think
After
you don't have
seeing
to
other
worry about
having
people
trouble with
doing
it.
things that complicated. When I playtested this, I didn't use flashback warp at all. I'm happy that you even mentioned it, because I do wonder if it can be used to help in that way, but I don't actually know, if it's concretely helpful, because it's really hard to set up.
Yeah.
We can say at this point that nobody is going to get the optimal score. So if that makes you feel better, then you're not competing against the machines. You're competing against a bunch of humans trying to figure this out on the fly.
Yeah, so I think the route I came up with took me a little while, took me a little refinement, but I'm pretty happy with it, and I think I can pull off everything. And
Do you have
I
every
don't
fairy
sacrifice a
routed
lot
at
of
this point, or are you kind of like just doing the levels that you know make sense to do at this point, and you'll figure out
Well,
what's later?
I pretty much have every fairy routed at this point.
Ah, I'm glad to hear that.
Hopefully everything works out.
I do like your remembering to get key 1 because you knew you'd be leaving Aztec as Diddy. I thought that was smart.
Yeah, also I got key 2 for after Japes, so I can stay lanky to free Chunky.
Oh, interesting. That's an interesting call. I didn't even think of
Oh,
that.
that was why. Because I guess there's not another easy way to get Lanky up to Factory.
Yeah, short of doing like stuff that's annoying, crazy glitches, like that is the best way.
Cool, cool. Well, we will be seeing how things continue on. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right. Yeah, I really
That
like
T2
his,
thing is so interesting. Like
the key 1
I
and key
would've-
2 both are really smart. Yeah, I didn't think like how Lanky basically doesn't have a free factory early. I mean, a factory lobby early in particular. Yeah, that totally slipped my mind.
It's not that he can't get up there. Like he can get up there with like a skid jump backflip, maybe. I don't actually know if that works.
I don't know actually.
Yeah,
you might
but
have
certainly
to, like,
you can get up there with
telegraph.
TBS. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can telegraph just the same as DK can.
True, but that doesn't mean it's easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you'd have to fall from above because I don't know if actually his skid jump probably goes high enough, but it's certainly harder. And if people haven't practiced it, I wouldn't expect them to be able to do it.
Yeah. Alright, I'm curious to see where Adam goes now that he's done this twice. Okay, so he's still doing... Okay, he's not going to Castle second after Aztec. He's going to Japes. Which makes a lot more sense. Because he figures, like, yeah, I need to free some Kongs organically. So Adam is off to a good second start here. Do you want to bring in either Obiyo or CandyBoots next?
Sure. Let's get CandyBoots. He looks like he's doing some interesting things.
Yeah, CandyBoots has done, like, the most switches so far, so it's... Yeah, let's pull him in. Morning, CandyBoots. Is this a good time for a little runner interview?
Sure. I have my whole route planned out. I feel really good about it, actually. I feel like I did a good job trying to minimize how many times I was entering levels.
I'm glad to hear
Fantastic.
that you got, like, everything planned in advance.
I have something pretty funny planned out toward the end that I kind of want to just keep to watching what happens.
Sounds good.
Oh, we will keep our eyes out for that then.
I just want to say I like that you thought about freeing Tiny from kut-out, specifically after having done stuff as Lanky.
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely part of the plan.
Because otherwise, I mean, you had already completed the Aztec fairies, so going back to Aztec and Tag and Diddy would have been worse than what you did.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any things you would do differently if you started over the run right now?
Not so far, I think. I think there's only been, like... The only things that I wish I would have done differently are more, like, getting tricks centered. You know what I mean? Like, my phase walks toward the beginning were not great. Only because I will tell you right now, I do not know the proper phase angle for the 5-door temple. So I was just having a really hard time with that. But other than that, like, I feel like I'm doing okay. And my routing has been good for what I wanted it to be.
Cool. Well, we will be looking closely towards the end about whatever it is that you have planned. There's definitely a lot of, you know, very tricky and unique things that could help you out in this challenge, so hopefully you've thought of some of them.
Yeah. I planned on getting Chunky in here so that I didn't have to eat a bunch of more tags in Castle Kongs.
I think that's exactly right.
Yeah, that's definitely what you want to do. Cool.
Well,
any last thoughts before we let you go?
No, just hopefully everybody's doing good. Hopefully you guys are having fun watching.
Yeah, it's very interesting so far. There's a variety
just gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Cool. Good luck.
Yep.
Okay, now that he's gone, the thing he's gonna do is Tiny Forest early, right?
I sure hope so. Well, either he's alluding to that or he's alluding to Tiny Helm.
Oh, could be, yeah.
Either one of those things is probably going to be part of his plan. Before we switch in Obiyo, actually, I want to know where he's going with Lanky right now.
Yeah, Warp 2.
Oh, by the way, we just saw Bismuth use his Key 2 turn in to get Lanky up here. That's pretty cool.
Nice. Where? Caves?
What? Caves?
No, Lanky has nothing to do in caves unless he's tagging.
Well, I guess he's kind of done with Lanky, because he's already freed Chunky, he's already got the Japes Lanky Fairy. Yeah. So yeah, there's nothing else to do with Lanky other than use his long arms.
So then in here, you think he's going to tag Diddy first or Tiny first?
That's a great question. I would probably do Diddy first, because Tiny has more stuff she can do in Isles, as well as like... No, wait, he already got the fairy with Tiny in Factory. So then... I don't know.
Tiny still needs to... He does need to tag Tiny at some point for Forest Lobby.
Yes. Yeah, no, I guess the answer is still Tiny. Because even though you have to tag Diddy both here and in Forest, like, Tiny has to do stuff in Isles regardless.
Yeah, like, there's no way. I guess either...
Yep, okay, so he starts with Diddy. I think that makes sense.
Okay, want to grab Obiyo?
Sure. And I just want to make sure Bismuth is incrementing on entering Factory. Did he? I want to assume that he did.
Let's see. Did Aztec, Japes,
Adam is entering Jape's underground. What?
or did he leave Japes under? That's how Crown worked. No, he's not.
I think he was already in Jape's. He's just trying to void, I think.
Okay.
He can pause exit. That's not disallowed. It's just it's just entering the. Okay.
Yeah.
whatever.
It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, we can pull Obiyo in. Morning, Obiyo. Is now a good time for a mid-run interview?
Sure, anytime is good. This run is bad anyway.
No worries.
Well,
This is
my brain is like melting so bad. Oh my god.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, even after thinking about this challenge for a long time, I still don't have like 100% confidence in what is the ideal route or like what is the most practical route. This is a very hard problem to solve. But I think you're doing all right so far. Like, you definitely, you know, made sure to free Kongs in useful ways. And I think you remembered to get certain fairies that are locked behind certain Kongs.
Yeah, so I'm trying to just route in my head, okay, how am I gonna get the fairies that are locked? Especially since I don't know some of the glitches that help for those.
Yeah,
so, like,
if
trying to
you're
work
not
that
as
route.
familiar with like certain glitches, getting into areas with unintended Kongs, it can make this challenge tougher.
Yeah, like I used to be able to do this one with DK, but like I don't remember how to do it at all. It's been way too long, so.
I see.
So that's why I was like struggling to find a way how to do this one.
I see. Yeah, so you know that this one isn't, you know, requiring tiny.
Yeah.
But yeah. Do you have your whole route at this point? Sort of like, do you have all the fairies routed out, or are there things left to sort of figure as you go?
Everything is left to figure.
Everything's left
so
to figure?
I basically did the first 5 minutes of the route, and I was like, I don't know what to do after, so I'm just gonna be winning it now.
Okay.
Well, best of luck.
Definitely take your time, think in advance before making any too big commitments. But yeah, I mean, you have time to think a little bit before it's over. But I think you're doing well, just, you know, winging it. Oh, yeah, make sure you increment if you reset as a different Kong.
Yeah, I did.
Yep, okay.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Do you have anything you've done so far that you regret doing and would do differently a second time?
I'm not sure at this point. I would have to look back.
Okay.
No worries.
Fair enough.
Oh no! Don't switch.
And then, unrelated to the challenge, do you have any complaints about DK being DK, with either fairy pictures or some other mistakes?
Dude, I think every single fairy I've been trying to do has like failed, even though it was in the middle. So it's all been DK. So
that sounds like DK being DK to me.
That sure does, yeah. Well,
Awesome.
Best of luck, and hope you are going to continue to figure it out on your way to the end.
All right, thank you.
All right, I don't think Adam's gonna want to be pulled in.
Yeah, he's not in. He's not
his
here
voice
anyway.
Chat, so. But he's going through Castle. I do kind of want to just see what he does differently this time. So he's already done enter Aztec, enter Japes. Did he then probably tag Lanky in Japes?
I'd have to imagine.
I
wasn't
imagine he
watching.
did that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't watching super close. And then his fourth would be entering Castle, and fifth being tagging DK again. So that all adds up. And he knows how to get both Castle Fairies as DK, so he's gonna do that. The only thing is, so does he plan on like not freeing Tiny here this time? Or is he just gonna take the 2 to free Tiny?
Taking the 2 to free Tiny is not the worst.
It's not that bad. As long as you're not also freeing other Kongs here, then it's not that bad.
If you're freeing
Actually-
anyone past Chunky, it gets really bad.
Yeah. I wonder if there's an argument for like freeing Lanky only, and then like leaving and freeing Chunky from Factory, and then coming back here and switching from Lanky to Tiny. It's more level entrances,
I think-
but
Well, actually, wait, why is he DK now? Come to think of it. Did he
Castle
not tag Lanky and
Fairies.
Japes?
I'm not. I think he did because he has 5. Okay.
Okay.
I gotta make sure that he knows what he's doing with the switches here. So
Mhm.
he entered as DK, so this should be 6 on the Lanky.
Yeah, once Lanky comes out. Meanwhile, both Obiyo and Bismuth exploring Factory.
Yeah. Factory has 2 pretty easy fairies, but one of them is tiny locked. That Bismuth just got. CandyBoots is doing fungi early now. So CandyBoots had to switch back to DK for this. So I guess the tiny fungi early, if it is part of his plan, it's not happening until later. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
Adam did switch twice to get to tiny. So he did his counting correctly.
Okay, and then he's leaving.
Yep. Cool.
Let's go CandyBoots. Nice forest early.
Yeah, that
Do you
was
think
quick.
he tags Tiny up here?
Oh boy. No, I think he enters fungi, gets DK's fairy in the barn before doing anything with
And then-
the Isles.
Tag Diddy.
I would enter, get DK's barn fairy, then tag Diddy, get Diddy's fungi fairy, and then it's a question of what does he do after that? Does he... He probably doesn't have anything else left as Diddy if he already cleared out caves.
You could tag Tiny in the lobby.
So I
Like,
think he's just
that's-
gonna tag Tiny in the lobby, save the headache of trying to do fungi early later.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Unless he really does go for fungi early later, in which case. But if he has nothing else
no,
to
it
do with
doesn't-
Diddy, it's
yeah,
not
if he has
even-
nothing else to do with Diddy, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, because did he even do Diddy in caves? Yes, he did. We saw him tag Diddy.
Yeah, we saw him tag Diddy, and then I'm sure he must have done Tinies in caves also.
Yeah. Unless he hasn't done Tinies in caves and is going down there now, but
He could re-enter caves. Yeah,
no,
actually, it
'cause
wouldn't
I
be any
remember we saw him by
worse.
Cranky. We saw him by Cranky, so he must have done Tinies. There's just no other reason he would be in that area.
I think he was in Cranky's to buy Rocket Barrel for Diddy.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, I'm not sure if he did Tiny's Fairy in caves yet. Bismuth is asking if he did his last level entry.
Well, someone in the chat, if you want to check the VOD, did Bismuth count as last level entry? That'd be very helpful.
Yeah, I'll see if I can check.
Okay. So yeah, Candy getting DK's barn makes sense. If you come up here with DK, you better be getting the barn.
Is it possible
I think
to
it's
check a VOD of the current stream?
It is, actually.
Oh yeah, it is, okay. So his last entry was entering castle, right? He did not.
Yeah.
It should be at 9.
Okay. Sorry, chat, you're out of a job. It's interesting seeing people coming this way.
Oh, Mumbo's asking some. Is someone in chat allowed to tell me whether you can do the Simian Slam Pad in Tiny Igloo as the wrong Kong? I don't know if that constitutes help or not. I'd say it's help.
Yeah,
Right.
I would say it's help, and I would say that... Do people in chat actually know? I
Yeah,
know
do
the
they?
answer to that, but I'm surprised if many people do.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you have to be tiny, but I didn't
You
actually
do.
test it with other
You do.
Kongs.
I know that because of A Button Challenge. That's one of the rooms that still has some issues.
Oh, okay. Ooh,
But,
Adam's going to Helm with Tiny. Okay, that's probably
like
a good
it.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Tiny Helm. I think it's...
It's funny, when I did this challenge, I just like right off the bat did DK Helm. Figured it was not a problem. Because I knew that like I was gonna be Tiny in Isles for the Fungi Lobby Fairy anyway, so like monkey porting up later didn't bother me.
Mm-hmm. But while you're here, do this, then drop down to Factory, get Spinning Game.
Yeah, yeah. Or what would be better is after Helm, do the tiny fungi early for that fairy, and then go into Factory.
Do you think... What's going to do about the timer, though?
That's a good question. See, that's why I think DK Helm is better, because you can just reset
Yeah.
and not worry about the timer.
Unless he's going for like flashbacking back into a level.
If he
Is it-
knows how to use flashback effectively for this challenge, I am gonna be so happy. That was like the big, you know, question in my mind. Is like, can people use that to their advantage here?
I mean, I actually don't think it's ever going to be effective because even when you store a flashback warp, you do get sent back to DK on the game over.
Right. It would have been the most effective to do it with the DK Helm.
Yeah. But if you're going to have to be DK again anyway, you might as well use the flashback warp you got.
Yeah, exactly. Like at this point, you're already kind of locked into counting the switch back to DK for something.
Right. Unless he finishes in 8 minutes, in which case, impressive.
Yeah. Alright, CandyBoots finished both fairies and fungi, and he is switching to Tiny for the lobby fairy. Which makes a lot of sense. So.
Okay. I wanted to see him... should he go do Helm now or later? The problem is you need to go Chunky and Galleon.
Yeah. You could try to do Helm as like Chunky or something. Alright,
How does Chunky getting up? I guess he telegrab. Yeah, sure.
Telegrab. Anyone can get up. I think.
Yeah, maybe he does a Chunky Helm. Like, as if we were... I don't know how Chunky slope climbs easily. Probably
Okay,
the
let's
same
see
thing
what
as...
Adam's gonna do. Adam is leaving Helm. He's not yet save quitting, which is a good idea. You might as well try to do what you can with Tiny here. At least get stuff done in aisles. Okay, this is where things get really interesting. For season 2, you should add a counter if they miss the fairy. That would just be cool. Okay, he's not doing other aisles fairies right away. He's just gonna go into factory and get the tiny required fairy here. That is fine, yeah.
Yeah, like, I think you could easily get Spinning Wheel, tag Lanky, pretty Chunky, get the other fairy in there, and then just, like, reset.
I feel like Bismuth is doing really well so far. He's only at 9, and he's already freed Chunky, so he can definitely get the fairy for Chunky in this visit to Galleon, and he can also get Key 4 while he's at it, because he hasn't been up to Fungi yet, and not needing to like tag DK or do a difficult Fungi early with someone is going to help him out a lot, I think.
Well, Bismuth still hasn't done Caves or Forest yet, and both of those add a lot to your number.
That's true.
That's why his number's so low right
They're also good ones to save for later, for that reason.
Yeah. So I do expect his number to go up more, but...
For sure.
This fairy is being awful. There's just been some truly awful fairy catastrophes this run.
Alright, Obiyo's doing Galleon, and he is Chunky now. Did Obiyo not increment up on entering? Oh no, there he did. It was just a little delayed. Did Obiyo get the Isles fairy with Primate Punch before this? He probably did. So Obiyo's kind of going like in the opposite direction as Bismuth here, where he did the Chunky Isles fairy and now he's going to the Chunky Galleon fairy, and Bismuth's going to do them in the other way around. Adam is working on his spinning game, sorta. I don't really know, where is he?
It's tense. He's got that timer he's competing against. I mean, he should be fine, but it's an interesting little element there.
Behind Funky?
He's going to fall to the main room to get Chunky? I don't know.
That was weird. Oh, he needed coins. Maybe he doesn't have Tiny's gun yet.
He must not, which would make sense. When would he have gotten it?
Right. 5 minutes is plenty of time to get this this fairy, though. But it's not necessarily also enough time for him to set up a flashback warp, if that's what he was hoping for.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to do a flashback. But
I would be really impressed if he does. It's a shame Adam already completed Japes. It means that he's not going to be using that Crown Warp for anything.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It's really hard to make Crown Warp actually save a thing. So I'm pretty sure at this point CandyBoots is going to be the first player to be done. Much like in the Literacy Challenge. But he's not it's going to be a question of, does anyone finish with a lower efficiency, or better efficiency than him?
Which, how many more things does he have to do? He needs to enter Helm.
He needs to get, yeah, this fairy, the 2 fairies in Helm, and maybe the fungi. No, he's done the fungi fairies, right?
Well, he has 35 crystals after that fairy, so that means he's missing 5 fairies.
Okay, so maybe some
Galleon.
other isles.
He hasn't done
Oh, he
Galleon.
hasn't done Galleon, that's true.
And then
So there's
Factory Lobby.
Factory Lobby, Galleons, and Helm, so that's it.
Yeah, and Helm. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's going to finish with 20.
So hopefully he has enough time from the Helm timer to do the rest of this without incurring
It
a
should.
big
It's just
attack.
Galleon
Ooh,
and Factory
he's
Lobby.
tagging Chunky now. Oh, he's gonna do Chunky Helm. That's what it is. So Chunky
works.
Helm, and then when you leave here. Oh no!
Oh no, he realized he
no,
can't get up a slope with
no.
Chunky.
You
realized-
could. Yes, there's a
could.
Chunky slope climb.
He doesn't know how to.
Oh, that sucks. He just ate 2 unnecessary tags.
Yeah, that's hurts a lot.
Ah, yeah, that's really
He had
rough.
just tagged Chunky slightly later. Also, you don't need to phase walk there. You can just backflip into the corner. Remember, like
Sure.
the old days.
I know. I
But
know. Bismuth is doing key 4, which means he's thinking about avoiding fungi early.
yeah. that's
Obiyo
fine.
doing the worst fairy in the game. Oh, that wasn't.
Is that
too
the worst?
bad. I mean, if
Four?
it's the worst if you're doing it from outside the cage like that, yeah.
Yeah, Forest Lobby could be awful if you get.
Now what does CandyBoots do? Yeah, CandyBoots just needed to wait a little bit before tagging Chunky.
Oh, that hurts him so much.
And you could have,
That's-
if he remembered that in NLE you can do a Chunky slope climb to start Helm, even that would have been okay. Oh well.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the kind of thing that we figured would separate the top runner from the runner-ups.
Mm-hmm. And again, nobody's perfect. Nobody's been perfect.
No.
Nobody's gonna get it.
No one is gonna.
Getting close to the perfect
Yeah.
score.
Even I wouldn't have gotten close to the perfect score here. And having time to think about it more than they did.
Obiyo taking think. Always love to see it.
Yep.
Um,
Obiyo basically completed all of the Chunky requirements for fairies. So he's just
I'll
trying
say
to
Bismuth
decide.
with a clean puff toss, but I actually have no idea if it was clean or not.
I
It was a
wasn't
puff
watching
toss
that
though.
close, yeah. Let's see what Adam does next. He's in Isles. Is he gonna do... Oh, right, he has, like, a very little amount of time on his Helm timer.
Is he
gonna
going
go
Forest
somewhere?
early?
Is he
No.
gonna switch? No.
No.
He doesn't do
okay.
anything. Okay. That's probably the right move.
If he had time to go for Forest early, I would have loved to see it from him.
That would have been so cool, yeah, if he, like, just barely made it up and got that lobby fairy. in,
That
like,
said,
2
that
minutes.
lobby fairy could take a minute 50 on its own, so.
True, yeah, I don't think he had the time for it. Alright, Obiyo entered Japes. Good thing he has Warp 1, okay. So CandyBoots going in for the Helm Fairies now. But CandyBoots, like we mentioned, still has Galleon and Fungi Lobby to do. So I feel like it was a little unnecessarily risky for CandyBoots to do Helm before his remaining fairies with Chunky. Although maybe... No, because he needed time
He needed to
get
monkey port
here.
up. He wanted to,
Yeah.
or at least he wanted to monkey port up. He didn't want to TBS.
Right. So I think he had to do it this way. Oh, no, he's quitting game.
Oh no,
That shouldn't have been his plan, right?
that couldn't have been his plan.
Maybe he just
forgot.
forgot that doesn't
He
exit
forgot.
level.
He's just eating so much pain right now.
Yeah, that's.
He just said, "I hate myself." Like,
Oh no. Well, there is an hour left.
he's gonna get the speed.
Oh, wait,
I'll say that much.
If he resets now, does he have time to complete the whole challenge again? Are we still doing only 2-hour limit at this point?
Yeah, I mean, if
I think
Candy Boots is
so.
almost done, I think 2
Yeah,
hours.
I think 2 hours was fine. Oh man, it feels bad for CandyBoots who had such a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Why
But we
is
were
there no
watching,
training grounds?
as you told us to. We were watching.
Yeah. I don't know what the training grounds visit was all about though.
Primate Punch.
Oh, Private Punch.
Which I don't know if this is the way to get it. You probably just go to Galleon and learn it there. But...
True. Yeah, you did.
Sure.
Well, no, because he wants to not. No, I know why. Because. Oh no, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, you could just do it in Galleon. I was thinking like for some reason that you want to do Factory Lobby before Galleon, but it doesn't matter. You can exit Galleon and then go to Factory Lobby. No reason not to. Alright, Obiyo's returning for the Japes Lanky Fairy. I guess he didn't actually get this one on his first visit to Japes. I thought he did for some reason.
So we're seeing a lot of hate right now, where everyone seems to be pretty frustrated. I think the only person who continues to exude confidence is Bismuth.
Yeah.
Is he gonna go for the 3-peat?
He could definitely get a 3-peat here. Then we have 2 3-peat challenge winners.
Let's see, he just got his 12th fairy.
Just because it's always good to check on our other runners that aren't featured on the stream, I'm just going to take a little quick check at Mumbotoken and Corncob and see what their counters are like right now. It's hard to really see, you know, how many fairies they've got, but
Yeah. If you could look at their collectibles, if you ever get to see their crystal coconuts, that's like the best way to tell, I think.
Oh, Corncob is just getting Chunky's Galleon Fairy, and she's at 16.
Okay.
And 16 switches, and she also has 16 fairies. Mumbo?
Well, sounds like she's gonna blow CandyBoots out of the water.
Yeah, I think so. Mumbo is only at 10 switches, so he has the fewest of those, and he's also Chunky and Galleon right now. But I have to imagine that his fairy count is not quite as many. He's right now trying to figure out which of the sunken ship rooms has a fairy in it.
That's fair.
And unfortunately, Chunky doesn't clip very well into the tiny door, so he might have to try to kind of lag clip his way in or something.
Yeah, you could clip by Chunky's door and then like dodge the loading zone. You do it right. But that's harder. Nice photo of the splat.
Alright, but Adam's
Adam
up to
with a beautiful
13
shot.
fairies in 13 switches. I think
So we
honestly,
got 13,
like,
13, 16,
16 to
16.
16. If anyone who gets a sub 20 is doing pretty well, I would say.
Yeah.
Alright, Adam gonna do the Galleon Fairies next. Makes sense because he's already Chunky. Bismuth
Mumbo has 9 fairies?
is
Okay.
working on fungi now.
If he's already at 9, then everyone should finish in 2 hours because the start's slow. So
Right. Yeah, 9 fairies in 10 switches.
and definitely no one's gonna have time for a second attempt at this point.
No. Yeah, Adam
Which is good, I think.
made his mistake early and got his second attempt started. He's going to be able to finish no problem, I think. So, yeah, I mean, Adam could still win this. Bismuth seems to be doing quite well. CandyBoots unfortunately ate a couple of extra tags, just sort of rushing his decision-making process going into Helm, and also not saving Chunky on the exiting of Helm.
Yeah.
But he's basically going to be done with his fairies here in a very short period of time.
Missing one.
Alright, Bismuth is working through fungi. I'm sure he had to re-tag Diddy for this, right? Did he? What was he doing before this? It's so hard to remember everybody's route.
Bismuth.
He was in
beat
Galleon,
Puff Toss. He
right?
beat Puff Toss. Then he came up here.
Yeah. Does he think that you can get the other fairy with anyone? Does he know
Or he
that
just realizes
only DK can break this box? That could throw off his plans, because he might have planned to get both fungi fairies with Diddy and then go
yeah,
to K's.
he's going in there with Diddy.
Yeah, this is gonna be rough.
Well,
To be honest,
it's always good when our runners learn things.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there's nothing about this box that like has DK's face on it or like would make you think that it only works with DK. In the same way that Mumbo was wondering about if only Tiny could do that igloo. But yeah, Diddy's gonna. I mean, he's gonna learn the hard way that Diddy can't open this. And it's not an issue of like super seeming slam or anything. It's just, yeah, you need DK, which really sucks. But I think the right play, so that he avoids 2 extra tags but only needs 1 extra level visit, is probably go to caves now, get the Diddy fairy that you need there, and then when you're done with all of Tiny's fairies and isles, switch back to DK and get his remaining fungi fairy. Oh,
Yeah,
he's
that would
not
make
thinking
sense.
about. Is he gonna just tag DK though? Oh yeah, he is.
It's fine. Honestly, like he's doing so well. I think maybe.
But this is 2
Perhaps
extra
that it's
tags
fine.
instead of 1 extra level visit. We will see. This could make the difference between him and Adam Whitmore, but I don't know. I think he's still probably doing better.
If Adam comes from behind and wins after resetting at 20 minutes, you know, CandyBoots is at 20, I think.
I'm not gonna like rule it out.
Candy?
Yeah,
Restart
CandyBoots
and
is
try again.
done.
See if you can finish it in 54 minutes.
Let me pull him in.
Yeah.
GG Candy.
Before we talk a bunch, you're allowed to restart and try again if you want. We'll save your 24, but
Yeah, I don't know if you
good
want
luck
to try.
finishing.
Try again?
If you want
If you
to,
wa-
you can
You have 2
absolutely
hours.
Stop here.
You have 2 hours, so if you want to restart your file and go,
But
Try to get under.
You have you need to do it in under an hour, and better
Yeah,
than
like-
24 to improve.
I mean,
Or
I
you
can
could
Give
just
you the option.
or you could just be competent with this. I don't even know if you could finish it again in time.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm so upset about how many extras I had to go through.
I felt so bad. There were like 4 extras right at the end section that
Yeah.
we
Helm
witnessed.
Lobby was
Helm Lobby was so
was sad.
sad. And then like not just taking Chunky out of Helm. Everything else seemed okay, you know.
well. You are the
I
fastest
also-
finisher, so there's that.
Yeah, I also forgot to get the factory fairy with Tiny, so I had to go all the way back for that. So
I
that was
see.
another inter-level thing.
Yeah.
So I think like 3 or 4 accidental ones.
Yeah, and yeah, that could be the difference maker. But the thing is, you'll have to get all 20 fairies again for an improvement to count. It's gonna be very
If
tough,
you're going to
but,
go again, though, we do need to take you out of this call so that we don't
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
talk about things.
Okay, well, good luck, and GG on the first run.
Thank you.
So we'll see what happens with him. I doubt he's going to finish. in
I
time.
don't
You
think
never
so.
know.
The memer board world record for all fairies I checked was like 49 minutes on VC.
Okay.
So, and that's with no,
Restrictions. Yeah.
restrictions. So, yeah, I don't see this happening for him, but it's okay. CandyBoots got 24. That is a respectable score. But yeah, it's
Should we tell him
efficient.
that just like to not like make him waste all that time? And
Yeah.
we just... Okay, I'll bring him.
I don't know. Like, well, I don't want to like rule it out as impossible, but it just
Okay.
feels like it's not gonna happen. But
Yeah, because I didn't want to kick him out of the call, but I also didn't want to like ruin his day if he had still had time.
if we were gonna extend this to a 2.5 hour, then absolutely. But I think at this point it's not fair to do that.
Yeah, I think 2 hours is perfect.
Ooh, let's see what Obiyo is doing here. He's trying to get Tiny into the ballroom with the ledge clip. I like this play. If you can't get the lag clip into the museum, this is the next best option.
Mm-hmm.
Although I hope he's done the tree fairy before this, because otherwise you kind of have to exit enter or die. Oh, maybe you can die. Oh, you can definitely die to an enemy in the ballroom.
You could also phase walk and void.
Yeah, but I'm thinking the reason he's doing this is because he's not comfortable with phase walking.
Oh, fair enough.
Alright, so Adam's into fungi. I think he probably did the DK one
Wait,
just before this.
Can't you leave the front door of the museum?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, maybe. Maybe you can.
I know. Yeah, you for sure can, because I brought a boulder out of it before.
Cool.
But again, you need to phase walk out. Okay, so not really relevant.
Right. Alright, Bismuth doing his Diddy Fairy in caves, and Bismuth is almost done. He just needs, or maybe he already did Diddy's Fairy here. Bismuth is doing the jetpack to the music. Such an entertainer.
I hope his audio is on stream and it's not just you. Okay.
No, yeah, his audio's on stream. Lovely. Okay, and he's doing his 17th switch over to Tiny. So Bismuth seems like he's doing all Tiny's Isle stuff at the end after having done her Caves Fairy. I think that's a pretty good play. Corncob had 16 fairies last time that I checked, so let me see how close she is to being done. Oh, she is done.
Oh.
2 minutes ago.
Well, okay, if she finished 2 minutes ago, then there was no chance that
19.
she would have...
Ooh.
19, that's pretty good.
Let me pull it in.
Yeah, there's no chance you'd be able to do a second thing, because then you're really, like, breaking into record territory. Were to do another one and have it finished before 2 hours.
Alright, let's get Corncob in here.
Mm-hmm.
She might be our winner.
Oh no, Obiyo.
She's not sure if she actually got 19 or 20, according to her chat.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. We can, of course, review the VODs and figure out exactly how many everyone got. I have no problem doing that. Alright, let's see. Bismuth is going to be done very soon here. He might be, you know, winner for 3 weeks in a row if he doesn't take any additional tags, and I don't think he has any reason to. Right?
What does he have left?
Fungi Lobby and Helm. So he'd be done in 17.
Impressive.
Very impressive. Is that better than
Hello,
Wild
Corncob.
Hello.
Morning. GG's.
What did you think of your run?
It was fun. I don't know how well I did. I had no idea if I was a good number or a bad number.
I still don't really know what's gonna be a good number or a bad number, like, among the racers here. It's really hard to judge.
On stream, we're looking at a 17, a 16, and a 17, but none of them are done yet, so...
Okay. I got 19, I believe.
That's pretty nice. I was saying, like, anything sub 20 is definitely contender to win this challenge. When I tested it and I had a lot of thinking time, more than you guys did, I think I got like 16. And then Ringrush like theorized a 13 with like tons of really difficult strategies.
Damn.
But yeah, I'd say 19 is pretty darn solid.
Well, that might be our winner, honestly.
It might.
Actually...
If we have to see what Bismuth gets here, because I think he's almost done, and he's at 16 right now.
Let's see, that is his... Yeah, that's his 18th fairy. If his last tour in Helm, he's definitely a 17.
So he could get done at 17 if he manages to do all of Helm without switching Kongs.
Which we've seen already, that is not a guarantee.
Yeah. So actually, CandyBoots has finished on race time, which you might have noticed. And he is going again to see if he can improve, but actually we might just want to call it on him because I don't think that's even physically possible.
Yeah. At this point, like,
Like, I don't want to waste his time.
yeah, like you want to just bring him in.
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
Hey, CandyBoots. I
Yeah.
was just thinking about it. I don't even think it's like physically possible to do another 20 fairies run
Okay.
in this amount of time. I just
We
didn't
reviewed
wanna
the
waste your
memer
time.
boards. You would need to be near the record pace with all the additional restrictions.
Yeah. Okay.
It's probably not feasible. Sorry for making you waste some time.
It's okay.
What time? How many did you get, CandyBoots?
I got 24. How many did you get?
19.
19. Wow. Yeah, I don't even think it without the mistakes that I made that I would have gotten 19. So good job. I would have gotten second no matter what, or not first no matter what.
Yeah, I think you were potential for 20 if you didn't make the mistakes near the end.
20 or 21, yeah.
Of note, Bismuth tagged DK just now, so he's not
Oh.
getting a 17.
He's not getting 17, but he should be getting 18. And that might still be good enough for first. If Mumbotoken doesn't have anything to say about it. At this point, I could put Mumbotoken up on the bottom left, I think. So what were your guys' thoughts about the challenge, or like, what did you think was the hardest part of the challenge?
Definitely the routing. I think just like figuring out where everything goes in your in your path and your route is probably the hardest part, and trying, obviously the challenge is minimizing how many times you're entering levels or how many times you're tagging.
Right.
So yeah, and I don't know, man. For me, apparently the hardest part was going off of my route, trying to go with my route.
Yeah, that was some unfortunate stuff. For the record, with Tiny, you can just backflip in the corner within Helm Lobby.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I was like, I should have entered with Tiny, and then tag Chunky in, like once I got on top of the thing.
Well, the other thing that was kind of annoying for me to see was like, even when you tag Chunky, it wasn't over. Like, you could enter Helm as Chunky and do all of Helm as Chunky. I don't know if you had thought about that for a second.
I didn't really know how to do the Chunky slope climb.
Ah, I see.
Oh, we got a few people in. Oh, wow. That was almost a dead tie for first.
Whoa. Wait, what the heck? Adam, Whitmore, and Bismuth both finished at how much time apart? You're done, Adam?
I'm done.
You didn't done in the race time. What was your finishing time?
It was like 1:17:30, I think, or even lower than that.
God. We might have to check because you might be the winner if Bismuth. It's between you and Bismuth, I think, because you have the same number of switches.
Wait, but Bismuth just incremented his counter.
I have 18.
Wait.
Yeah, I went back because I wasn't sure if I counted one, and it turns out I missed it, so I have 19.
Oh no!
Oh
I'm really
my God.
sad too because there's something I was thinking about, and then I was like, I think no. I think it's just because like it never happens. But it turns out I was right, and it cost me at least one.
Was it Forest?
Yes.
Yeah, we noticed that you tried
the
getting
one-
the second fairy in Forest with Diddy, which doesn't work.
The one mistake I have is I forgot to free Chunky when I resetted the game with Tiny. So I
what
did
was your
Tiny
plan
Helm.
to free Chunky.
What? I was going to free Chunky after doing Helm.
As
like
which comes?
I totally forgot
As
to
Tiny?
do.
How?
Wait, what?
Well, if
As
you had
Lanky.
tried to, you can only free Chunky with Lanky, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's
when he
fine.
was in Factory, he should have tagged Lanky and free Chunky
Yeah,
instead of
that's what
leaving.
That's
Or
what
if
you're
he
saying.
left to do Fungi early with Tiny, but no one was.
So I was going to like free Chunky and then reset because
Mhm.
I don't have time to do everything because of the Helm timer.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were gonna try
It would've
setting up a
been 17.
flashback warp. But
And
I
it would
don't
have been
even know.
17, but oh well.
I'm still very
Because
impressed by your, you know, coming back and finishing after, like, having to restart 20 minutes in.
I'm so glad you told me to restart because that was... I didn't realize cutout Kongs was bad.
It's not necessarily bad. Like, you could use it to free Tiny, and that
Like, I
might be
did.
optimal.
I did free Tiny
Yeah.
in cutout.
But I wouldn't
'Cause
use
I
it
did-
to free Chunky or Diddy, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I freed... Well, I freed Lanky and Aztec anyway, but...
Right,
whatever.
so, yeah, I also think because of how easy it is to free Lanky and Aztec, probably just freeing only Tiny and Cutout is what makes the most sense. But it was cool to see you and Bismuth doing different strategies throughout the race. Bismuth got a lot of, like, mileage out of turning in boss keys, which I thought was really unique.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was the coolest thing.
I don't know if you want to explain some of your plans, Bismuth.
Well, yeah, basically what I was trying to like string levels together, but sometimes it would mean like entering lobbies with the Kong that you can't really do the lobby early, so I figured, well, if I just turn in the key, then I won't have to worry about that. So I turned in key 1 so I could leave Aztec as Diddy. I turned in key 2 so I could go from Japes to Factory as Lanky. I turned in key 4 so I could enter Fungi Lobby with Chunky and with Tiny, and I turned in key 5 so I could enter Castle.
Very cool.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the key 2 and key 4 are things that I don't think everyone else... even key 1, actually, yeah.
I
All
only-
3 of them.
I only got one key. Which is key 5.
Just key 5, yeah. The
Yeah,
only
I think
required
most people
key.
only got one key.
Mumbotoken, I think, got key 4 for
Mhm.
Fungi Lobby stuff. There was one thing I was kind of hoping... There were 2 things I was kind of hoping to see this race that I don't think anyone did. One was the Crown Warp, to skip the Enter Japes requirement. Because Adam had done that in the last challenge, so I was wondering if you would have thought of doing it again. But it's not that easy to actually do it and save entrances, because there's a very limited number of crowns that you could be coming from.
Like, does warping to Japes count?
It would not count as an
a
entrance.
Yeah, because
Okay.
you're not entering
You're not
from
entering
the
from the
lobby.
lobby, so it wouldn't count.
Yeah, I knew like
Huh,
by
interesting.
the wording of it, I knew it was opening the door to like glitches, flashback warp, and
Yeah,
Crown warp
flashback
and
warp
stuff
was
like
another
that.
thing that maybe people could have tried, but I don't even think it would have been that easy to pull anything off that would have helped. The other thing that definitely could have helped, because I did this in my practice run of it, is Tiny Fungi early. Because then...
I thought about that, but
Okay, yeah.
I was gonna tag DK anyway because you have to get DK for one fairy and fungi anyway.
That's true. But in the way I was doing it, it was like I tried to get everything with Tiny sort of in one go. Like I finished caves with Tiny, and like I didn't want to tag Tiny coming out of fungi because I think I entered fungi with DK and I left with Diddy, and I wanted to go straight to caves with Diddy, do his caves fairy, and then tag Tiny in caves. So that way, when I was done caves, I was time to do like all the Isles fairies with Tiny, and that included doing like a very tedious fungi early with Ponytail Twirl.
I think now that I'm looking at it, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure if I had taken from the start for granted that I needed DK for that fairy and fungi, which I wasn't sure about, but I should have assumed it. I think I could have gotten 17. Looking at my route.
I think that makes sense, because your route is very similar to my playtesting of the challenge. The only thing you didn't do that I did was that Tiny Fungi early to skip one. And I got 16 in my playtest.
Oh, wow.
But
So I was
obviously
Yeah.
I had more information, you know, going into
Hold
it.
on. I'm auditing right now, and Adam, I think you missed a increment when you entered Galleon. You never incremented your counter.
Wait, I did not?
No, I'm rewatching it back.
I know there's a
I'm gonna
few
rewatch
I
everything
I
tagged
did,
like
just-
later.
To make sure.
Yeah, I'm watching all the ones that are done back that are in contention, but I see you're at 13 in factory, and then you go in, you enter Galleon, you're still at 13, and you stay that way until you tag DK, make it 14.
Okay, so that's 19 then.
So
Yes.
then it is really close between Adam and Bismuth for who finished
Aw.
first.
But doesn't that mean
Oh,
Corn
am I the
Cob won
winner?
if she got 19?
Oh, wait, Corncob got 19.
Oh my
She
god.
finished way before everybody else.
Yeah, she
Oh,
finished
okay.
first.
We've got so much auditing to do.
Yeah, we're gonna audit
Wow.
for sure, but okay. Congrats to Bismuth, Corncob, and Adam for all getting 19. But this race is not over. Mumbotoken's still going, and he's at 13 right now.
So
but he still
Corn
has a
Cob
lot
got
of
a
fairies
second?
left to go.
Adam, you forgot a second in entering Forest.
Wait, what? No. I counted it, right?
I know I counted entering caves pretty late, and
I know I should. I know I counted like entering
I also
fungi.
asked you guys about castle.
Oh, about
So
the
you tagging Diddy for 15?
cutout Kongs, you mean?
No, I entered
just about
castle
entering
and I
castle?
forgot to
Oh,
count.
yeah. We went back and checked, and yeah, you later incremented the castle.
There's a bunch of them. I counted like way like 3
I'm
minutes late.
gonna definitely rewatch everybody's VOD and count it up myself. So don't worry about that, like needing to know right now. I guess the main thing is, what did you like, or what did you think about the challenge, and how would you have sort of changed your route if you were given another chance at it, I guess? Like, is there anything that you found out along the way that, like, oh, I could have done this in a different order to save the
Well,
switch?
did you know in Fungi Forest? That's pretty much the only thing.
Yeah.
For me.
No, I could
I
tell that
didn't-
everything else for you, Bismuth, was fine.
I didn't even pause exit, like at all.
Yeah, that I hope that was clear that it's not that pause exiting is an increment. It's re-entering the level is an increment. So, like, once you're done with the level, you can totally pause exit. That's not a problem. But either way, it's not like it costs you anything to void out or leave manually.
I guess I could have tried to do Helm as Tiny, but I didn't want to mess it up and have a game over, so I just decided to go for DK Helm.
I was a little disappointed to see you not do Helm as Tiny, but yeah.
Wait, what?
Because he entered Helm with Tiny, and he switched to DK.
I did not count it? Huh. So I guess I'm a loser then.
Nah, you're probably still
Goddamn.
beating other people in this race.
Well, no, I only audited one person so far. Now let me
we
audit the next
also
person.
we also haven't audited Bismuths, and you know.
Man, I could have sworn I
Corn
counted that. Huh.
Hold on, we're not
Yeah.
there yet. Like,
Don't worry.
Yeah, I
about
found
we
it
gotta tally the
really.
votes.
I found it
Think-
very
okay.
easy to forget accounts.
I
Yeah.
think Mumbo left one to get in caves, and he left caves.
it. Okay, so he's gonna have to re-enter caves with Tiny or something, or to do the other fairy with Tiny. I think I did that in my run too. I like re-entered Japes to get Lanky's extra. I re-entered caves for the extra Tiny one, and I re-entered another level somewhere. I think factory for the Tiny fairy there.
I'm honestly really curious to see everybody's routes because I thought mine was really good, and I think apparently it's like 2 or 3 points away from everybody else's.
I think
Well, I
the
can-
thing
I
about
have
your
a-
route was like a lot of extra tags, but you maybe minimized level entrances better than others. I'm not entirely sure.
I can tell you the route I took. So I went for Japes first. Free Diddy got key 1. Then I went to Aztec and I got the Tiny Temple with DK. I got key 5 and 2. I used Diddy to free Tiny. I also freed Lanky with DK. I went back to Japes since I was Diddy so I could open the gate for Lanky's painting room. And then after I left Japes again with Lanky, I went straight to Factory and freed Chunky. Then I tagged Tiny and got the 2 fairies. Then I tagged DK and went to Castle, did both fairies in Castle, entered Galleon, did 1 fairy, tagged Chunky, got key 4, bought Primate Punch for the chest, went back to Factory Lobby. Then I went to Fungi, and that's when I fucked up. I tagged Diddy for his fairy, and then I figured I could get DKs as well, but I couldn't, so I had to tag DK and then tag Diddy back again. But I used DK to enter caves. Then I tagged Giddy in caves. I got the cabin and then tagged Tiny, got the igloo. I went back to Fungi Lobby with Tiny and then Helm, which I tagged DK in for the ease of access.
Right.
That's what I had written down.
Did everyone write down their routes, or did some people just like have it all in their head?
Like just go on the fly.
I had all the fairies written out, and I was like changing up what color they were written out as to decide the order that I was going to do them with the Kongs.
That's pretty
That's
smart.
it.
And what I was doing was writing the levels and then like Aztec key 5, key 2 end on Diddy, Japes end on Lanky, Factory end on DK, Castle, Galleon key 4 end on Chunky. So I basically just did that.
Once everyone's done the challenge, I want to read through Ringrush's optimal theory route and go through how many things that are difficult about it, because it's kind of crazy.
How to get 4.
No, it's like it's 13, but it's without any flashback warp usage, because we couldn't even decide if that could help you save more. Yeah, but one of the things, actually, since you mentioned like 4, originally this challenge was just going to be in the fewest tags, but it turned out to be a little too trivial to just, you know, use each Kong exactly once if you could re-enter levels as much as possible, or as much as you wanted. So that's why we had to put both restrictions.
Yeah, I liked how the restrictions work together. Because like each level has 2 fairies, so you can like choose. You basically like each
You have
level
to
having
trade
2
off
fairies
either
basically
tagging the other
forces
Kong
you
in the
like.
level or revisiting
Right.
the level once you are the other Kong.
I guess yeah, I never really considered revisiting levels to be worth it because
In some cases it is, because like if you think about, if you, let's say you tag a Kong and then you
I'm
need to
still
tag
mad.
back to someone else, or to the Kong that you were
oh
before, that's 2 extra tags. Whereas if you just left the level and came back later,
right.
it's 1
You know what
extra
I
tag.
should have done when I realized that I had to be DK? I should have just kept going and finished after Helm, going
Yep.
back to Fungi, and that would have gotten me 18 instead.
Oh.
Well, Znernicus, you called it out while this was happening. Like, oh, you should have done this. And yep, exactly.
Because obviously, what I should have done would have been at least a tag DK before Diddy. Because then it would have been an easy 18 anyway. But
Right. Oh, Mumbotoken also learned the hard way just now that Diddy can't break the box in the barn in Fungi.
it's really dumb because I thought about it and I was like, no, I think it's just because you never enter that barn with any other Kong. And then I just forgot it was even a thing, like when I was about to enter Fungi.
Yeah, it's one of those
Because I,
unfortunate Kong only
I was
things.
about to go do it with Chunky, but I was like, I'm gonna be stuck in there. I need to like kill myself to to like go elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of annoying, so I'll just do it with Diddy later. And
Right.
that's what did me in. Because initially I was planning to do it with Chunky, so if I did realize, then I could have tagged DK before doing Diddy's Fairy.
I mean, you would have
Yeah.
needed to do Diddy's Fair at some point anyway. And it's not like... Wait, was this
Yeah, it's
before or after you
probably
did
not a
Caves? I don't know if it
yeah,
was
it
before you
wasn't
did
an
Caves.
optimal route anyway to like end Galleon on Chunky and then tag DK and Fungi, then tag Diddy. Like there must be another level order that would have been better.
I should find what I did and then... Yeah, I can find out what I did and then read that off for you guys. Because I got 16. And then at the end, Ringrush can reveal his 13 route.
And by the way, this is why we say you're going to be the final boss.
Oh, why I'm going to be the final boss, right?
Yeah.
It's a funny idea.
I mean, there's got to be something there's got to be a
But-
challenge that Ringrush has thought up on his own that Znernicus does not know about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have to be something I don't know.
That would be incredible. Ringrush, get on it, man.
Okay,
then if
we
you
might consider this as the final week.
if you manage to beat Znernicus, then the extra final challenge is a new challenge where you have to beat a Tacit Ringrush maid.
Oh,
Oh
man.
man.
I can play this game. I swear. I used to play it.
You used to do 80%.
I've played it before.
Okay, I found the part where I was saying what I did. Okay, it took me an hour and change, I said. What did I get? I got 4 Kong switches, which is the minimum. Like, I only used each Kong once, and I had 12 level entrances. And I did this in like an hour, 13 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, I thought about it backwards. I was thinking in
You're
level
minimizing
entrances
level
and
entrances and not
Mhm.
minimizing Kongs.
If I didn't restart the whole thing, I would have gotten lower. A lower time.
But you would have had much higher number of switches.
Yeah,
and
much
the number
higher.
of switches is what counts. You know, the time is only
Yeah.
for tie breaking if 2 people get the same number of switches. Okay, so what did I do? Something I did in my playthrough that no one else did was to give myself more time to think while doing something that I knew wouldn't be a waste. I just started by doing TBS DK to Helm and get the Helm fairies as DK at the very beginning and then reset out. Because that doesn't,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
just one entrance to Helm, no Kong switches, and then the reset, you're already DK, so it's fine. I don't know if that would have helped anyone. Maybe Bismuth. If you
I've
would've
never
started with
done.
that. But if you're not familiar with
I
it.
have done that before.
I don't
I never thought of that.
I don't run the at one Kong 80%. I've done the TBS once, like to TBS to the helm once. But I didn't do like the entering helm from helm lobby with DK and do all of helm with the slope and all that stuff. I've never done that.
Do you use a full TPS method?
No, I use skid jump. I can do skid jump TBS. It just takes me 3 minutes to get it once.
It's hard for me to read out what I did because I
Took me
didn't
like 10
write it
seconds to
out
get
in
it.
like one message.
Oh, Obiyo
Bismuth, did you
finished.
split for caves late?
Yes, when I tagged Diddy, I incremented twice.
Just trying to make sure I understood what was going on there.
I'm just gonna see what I actually did. Okay, so I started with DK. I did the Helm 2 fairies. So I had 1 for entering Helm,
Oh,
and then I
Bismuth, did you
went to
tag
Aztec.
Tiny? When you tag Tiny in caves.
That's the one I counted at the very end.
Okay.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I went back and checked my VOD and realized.
Morning.
Morning, Obiyo.
Morning.
Morning.
How did you find the challenge? Was it fun?
My brain is completely destroyed, but it was fun.
Okay. So it looks like you got a 26
Yeah.
score. All right.
I have no clue how I compare to the others, but I don't expect it's too good.
So it
Well, no
looks
one
like
else is in the 2 digits.
The
so-
winning score is 19, right?
Yeah, I think it was a two-way tie at 19 so far.
That wasn't too far. Okay.
Isn't it a 3?
I'm at 20.
Oh,
I
right.
somehow
Yeah,
didn't
Adam has
count.
20.
Galleon and Fungi. Which I thought I did.
And
But apparently
Mumbotoken
I
is still
wasn't.
going, and CandyBoots finished really early with like 24, I think.
Yeah.
Wait, 24? Oh.
Yeah, it was kind of tragic. He was like on pace for 20 entering Helm, and then he like double tagged from Tiny to Chunky back to Tiny during Helm because it was kind of did the things in the wrong order and forgot the strats. And then
That's
also
rough.
all he had left was like Chunky fairies. But he like took a game over on pause exiting out of the Helm fairies, so he switched back to DK and then back to Chunky again. So it was like 4 extra tags that could have been avoided.
I don't
But
think game
the
over
speed
counts, right?
of the completion was really good. Game over counts if you're not already playing as DK. So he game over
Oh.
as Chunky, which meant he became DK. So that counted.
Right.
Yeah, I wanted to do him as Chunky, but then I realized I never bought his gun, so I was kind of stuck doing DK Helm, which I haven't done in like 3 years. It took me forever to figure out.
Did anyone besides Adam consider doing Fungi early with Tiny?
I kind of want to do that right now, actually.
No, I
should
just
try,
figured key
see how hard
4.
it is.
Key 4 is
the-
just the play. You don't have to worry about anything.
Well, the
You
way
just
I
get
did
key
it
4.
was I kind of ended in Galleon because I didn't want to waste my Chunky tag. Like I
Mhm.
couldn't. I
Yeah,
didn't
Chunky
have Chunky
is
free yet.
annoying.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what I actually did by reading my older conversation with Ringrush.
Yeah, I feel there's definitely a couple of glitches I didn't know that really made me not be able to do well in this challenge for sure.
Yeah, this
That
is. I mean, this is week 7. Like the goal was to make them harder as you went along, and yeah, I
Yeah,
could
the
see why
challenges
not
are
knowing
just
the
going to be
glitches.
really hard now. And yeah, we didn't like make it. We tried to make this challenge so that like anyone could complete it, but to get a top score, you're going to need to know a lot of difficult tricks. And I think
Yeah,
it
of
did the
course.
job to work that way.
No, it was terrible.
But it's interesting, Bismuth,
It was
you did
terrible.
very well as a player that I thought would be disadvantaged by like not knowing DK Helm and not knowing definitely not gonna do like Crown Warp or Tiny Fungi early. But you made the most out of like just good routing of turning in keys and
It's
like
the
a good bubble
bingo
warp.
experience.
Where can you
Yep.
do Crown Warp?
I think Fungi. If you
Fungi is the
enter
answer, yeah.
Fungi with DK, then you like do his fairy, and then you go up to the crown and you crown warp there into Japes. That is, you have to revisit Fungi later with Diddy, but you always need to like either take an extra tag with Diddy or extra Fungi revisit. So
I have a question. So if
There you go.
I'm assuming if Corncob and I tied, then time is gonna be the.
Yes.
yes,
So she wins and I
she
get
would
second.
win on time. Yeah,
Mhm. Okay.
but we'll
I'll
audit
be
everyone's
third
counts
place.
to make sure.
Which
Okay,
I think
what did I
third
do?
place is
Congrats to Corncob
terrible.
on the win.
No, 3rd place is plenty good. It's above half the players.
not. Yeah. Anyway, I just did Tiny Helm. Tiny Helm. Tiny
Hey, Mumbotoken's
Fungi
still
early.
at 17,
Nice.
so you know we don't know who's getting.
He's
first.
actually at 18. He forgot to count when he got in the helm.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Well, 18 is still a winning number if this is all he has
Yeah.
left. Which, to be honest, I have not
Pretty-
been. I have
I'm
no
pretty
clue
sure
how
it
close
is.
he is.
I'm pretty sure this is his
It-
last one.
Is he
Oh,
really
boy.
gonna win with 18? Wow. I'm gonna start auditing. We can't have this.
No.
We can't have the winner be the slowest player.
No, that's what this challenge is all about.
I know.
You're supposed to
Honestly,
take your time and
it's-
think.
It's funny
Yeah.
because halfway into my run, I was like, I feel like the 2-hour limit is gonna be a problem because I've got like 3 levels done. I'm like 45 minutes in. I know like it's gonna speed up because now I have the Kongs and most of the moves, and then it just like went so fast. I didn't expect to finish under an hour and a half, let alone like 116.
You
I thought
finished
I was-
in about the same amount of time that I did when I
I
played.
thought I
yesterday.
couldn't finish because I restart the challenge.
No, I knew that you had plenty of time to finish it, Adam. Just based
But
on
thank-
how I did it.
Thankfully,
CandyBoots,
getting
on
all
the other
20 is
hand,
short.
like, CandyBoots was like an hour and change to finish the first go through, and that's not quite enough time to do it again.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so okay, I have to piece together what I actually did. I said that I revisited Japes Castle and Factory.
Is Mumbo almost done?
And Mumbo
And
takes a
caves.
lot of things. Really making sure he has his route down.
Yeah, he's doing a tiny only helm, so he didn't switch
Which
off
I
to
did.
DK for key 8. But he's saved Helm for last, so that the reset out doesn't count as another switch. I think he's gonna be pretty set here. Once he gets this backflip to height raise in Chunky's room, the rest of Helm is pretty straightforward. As long as he doesn't, like... I mean, even if he does inbounds in Blastomatic, he can just do it again. The time literally does not matter. It's entirely about... Well, the time... Okay, the time matters in the sense that there's a Helm timer. But aside from that,
Okay.
he can do that.
I do need to expose Mumbo for trying to pound the chunky switch with Tiny. The free chunky switch.
He did that?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
In Factory?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Huh.
Ooh, he made it around the Blastomatic area. He's over to the like crown door. Oh, please don't inbounds past the crown door. Please do terminal 2 clip.
Wait, you used tag barrels only
wait.
4 times?
You
How
don't
did
need
you
it.
do that?
Yeah, I only used tag barrels 4 times, and then I re-entered 4 levels in addition to entering, well, every level once. So let me see how I did this. If I can piece this together. But I'm too glued to my screen watching Mumbo right now. Oh, nice job, Adam, getting to the top of DK Isles with Tiny.
Yeah, I'm trying to enter the bonus barrel.
I
I
haven't
feel like it
tried
could
that.
be possible.
Mumbo actually can just get the fairies from out of bounds, so he doesn't need to inbounds here. Or he can get them through the window at worst. Oh boy.
Wow, Mumbo has a really interesting route as I'm looking through this. He also entered Galleon twice.
Wise.
Mistake. It looks like he forgot key 4.
Ah.
Oh.
Oh, he's almost
Shoot.
there, dude.
Okay, he did miss one on his counter though. And I don't know if he caught up later with that or not. Which he might have.
Yeah, if he gets 19, then it puts him pretty far back from first. Wait, no, but his thing is 17. Adam was saying he missed the enter helm. Did he miss more than just that? Oh, wait, he counted up to 18 just now. Interesting. Well, he's done.
Oh.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Greetings. GG, Mumbo.
GG. How do we all do?
I am not sure who won this race because it's very interesting. We have several runners who got 19.
Ooh.
And Corncob was definitely the fastest of those. Bismuth also getting 19. If you actually got 18, you're the winner. We need to audit it, of course.
Which, yeah, we're auditing. I already see one thing you missed that you might have upped later. Did you upload anything late? Or up?
Yeah, I did up a few things late.
Okay.
Wow. I am blown away at the results of this challenge. I had no idea
maybe I'm
how
wrong,
much
though. Who
people were gonna
knows?
do. Maybe, right. Yeah, so we don't really know for sure, but I gotta say congrats on getting what looks to be like a sub 20 count. Any sub 20 I was thinking in my mind is like really impressive for this challenge.
Uh-huh.
How did you come up with your route?
I thought I got 19.
Oh, this was hard,
Or
man.
18.
It was hard. So, all I did was in the first 5 minutes was panic. But once the time started, like I just went through all the. Well, by the way, preparing, I knew that it had something to do with fairies and limited tags. I didn't see this whole limited entrances thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't see this whole like just limited switches in general because I was banking on doing Castle Kongs all the time.
So yeah, see the thing is even if we just did limited switches, it became too trivial to just only
do Castle Kongs, yeah.
Well, not only that, like even if you doesn't matter how you free the Kongs, but like it became too trivial to just do all the fairies that DK needs and then switch to Diddy and do all the fairies he needs and then do all the fairies Lanky needs. If you could revisit levels at will.
Right.
So that's why this is the rules.
So I just went through all the levels, all the fairies. I wrote down who I knew I needed, because I watched a 20 fairies run before, and Connor mentioned because I watched his run, was the fastest. He mentioned that all 5 Kongs were hard required. So I thought about
Yes,
that, and
they
I was
are.
like, okay, well then I need to go. So I wrote down which Kongs I knew I needed for those fairies, and then I wrote down a couple. Like I thought I could get DK's fairy as Diddy in Fungi.
Right.
Turns out you can't. I thought you could get Tiny's fairy in Caves as Diddy. Turns out you can't. So there were a bunch there that I, lost that I was planning on doing. But yeah, I tried to do as much as I could as DK. And then from there, it was like trying to figure out which Kongs needed to unlock other Kongs.
Yep.
So that I could. I needed to make that order important. So I also thought you could unlock Chunky as any Kong. You can't. You can only do it as Lanky.
Yeah.
So that was, ugh. And I did a Galleon revisit, like a total waste of a counter for Puff Toss because I left.
Oh dang. So what would you have needed? Which Kong would you have needed to get up to Fungi Lobby, had you not done Key 4?
Well, I was thinking I only needed Diddy and Tiny in Fungi Lobby.
Right.
So,
But
and I
also
don't know
DK.
how to. I didn't know at the time. So
Yeah, but DK can do Fungi early.
he can do Fungi early, but then I would have had to switch because I was already.
That's what I'm asking. Who were you already?
Oh, I was already Diddy.
Diddy. Okay. That's the toughest one, but it is possible with TBS.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely possible.
With some grabs.
Yeah.
I've done that up to Helm, just, playing around, but I've never done it anywhere else.
Yeah, it's lesser known how to do it to Fungi Lobby. The other one is if you were playing as Tiny, then there is a way to get Tiny to do Fungi early in a similar manner that DK does.
Oh,
with like ponytail twirling repeatedly against the slopes.
I was hoping I was going to get to do chunky Fungi early, but you would need to do like the Lanky Pad for that, and or not the Lanky Pad. You would have needed to do the Lanky Pad.
The Lanky Pad?
No, the tiny
saxophone.
Tiny saxophone. Oh well, I could have done that.
Yeah, actually, that wouldn't have necessarily added any tags.
Oh well. It is what it is. I made a lot of mistakes. This can theoretically, I'm sure this could go down to 12 or less.
No,
it cannot go down to 12. No.
I think Ringrush's theory route is 13. My playtest was 16, and I did things like Tiny Fungi early.
I think I'm coming up with a route that's gonna be sub 16, but I'm not sure yet.
My best easy route that I came up with was 14? Quote unquote easy, doable, human viable route. Well, I guess Ringrush.
I don't think 13's not viable. It's just like.
Read out your route, Ringrush, while I figure out what I did to get 16.
Okay, fine. Yeah. If anyone wants to think through on their own and doesn't want to be spoiled on the answers, you could deafen for a second, and I'll post something. But
yeah, I think I'm gonna deafen.
Actually, I'm just gonna post as. Okay, yeah, fine. Okay, so I'll get Bismuth back after this. But here's what I got: is start with Aztec, which we saw a lot of runners do. Free Lanky there. Get the 2 fairies there. I think half the field did that, so everyone kind of understands why that's good. Then go to Helm. Get the 2 fairies with DK. Pause exit. Reset.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because you're already DK, so you can just kind of stay that way. So then you're at 2.
Exactly.
Go to Forest. That's 3. Get DK's fairy while you're there. And then Crown Warp to Japes.
Yep.
And while you're there, free Diddy and tag Lanky and get all the fairies. So entering Forest was 3. You warp to Japes, that's free. While you're there, you tag Lanky is 4. So then now you're done with Japes. Head out. Go to Factory and free Chunky, nothing else.
Yep.
That's 5. Go to Castle. Get the fairies there and then free Tiny through King Cutout.
Yep.
Okay.
So that'd be 6, 7. Yeah, 7.
7.
Then you need to get the High Isles fairy while you're Tiny still. So basically monkey board up, grab that. Drop down to Factory. This is your second Factory visit where you get the dartboard. So 8. Then do Forest Lobby early with Tiny. Get her thing there, her fairy there, then leave and go to Caves and get her required thing there. So entering Caves is 9. Tag Diddy inside Caves is 10 to get his cabin. Then go back to do Forest Early again, this time with Diddy. Inside Forest Early, inside Forest, sorry, you get his attic, so that's 11.
Right.
Then you leave, go to Galleon, is 12. And inside Galleon, you tag Chunky, get his fairies in there, and leave and end in Factory Lobby.
Yeah.
That'll
Yeah.
be 13.
I could do that at some
Pretty good.
point.
Okay, I will.
All right, so I'll try to explain what my 16 route was. I think I'm piecing it together based on context clues mostly.
Only I have a time machine.
What did I do after Tiny Fungi Lobby? Then I needed to tag Chunky
You go straight to caves?
for Isles, for Factory Lobby, and then enter Galleon for Fairies. Is that everything? Wait, no, that's 15 though. Unless I miscounted something. That revisits Jabe's Castle, Factory, and Caves.
Well, par is 12. If you didn't do the warp to Japes and you just did one of everything, you'd get 12.
Right. And I clearly
And so
did
then if you have
more
4
than
revisits,
that.
that should be 16.
Yeah. But, okay, here's what I think I did, and correct me if I miscount or missed a fairy. I think I started with DK Helm, so that's 1 to enter Helm. And then I went to Aztec with DK, so that's 2. And I got both fairies in Aztec and just freed Lanky. And then I reset again. And then I entered Japes, that's 3. I freed Diddy. And then I think I entered Castle, and this was one of my mistakes. I entered Castle with DK to get both fairies, but I didn't, free anyone. And then I entered Fungi, so this is 5, and got DK's fairy and Fungi. Then I tagged Diddy in Fungi, so that's 6, to get the other Fungi fairy. Then I left Fungi with Diddy and went into Caves, so that's 7, for his Caves fairy. Then I realized at this point, crap, I never freed Tiny. I was planning to tag Tiny in Caves, but I didn't have her yet. So at this point, I think I entered Japes and tagged Lanky. Oh, so that's 8, 9 for the other Japes fairy that I didn't have earlier. And then I took Lanky into Factory, so that's 10, freed Chunky. And then I revisited Castle with Lanky, which was 11. And then I freed Tiny and Kut-out, which, if you're already Lanky, that's only 1 additional, so that's 12.
Right.
Then I took Tiny back to Factory. Oh, that's where I counted 12 twice. Okay, so that's 13, re-entering Factory with Tiny to get the Tiny only fairy there. And then I also re-entered Caves with Tiny to get the fairy that only she can get there. So that's 14.
Yeah, I think I finished on 14 on my route.
Okay. And then I took Tiny up to Fungi Lobby with the Ponytail Twirl to get that one, as well as the other Isles, like Monkey Port one. That doesn't add anything. And then I had to tag Chunky, which is 15 for Factory Lobby, and then enter Galleon with Chunky is 16 and get both of those. Yeah, that was my 16 route. And it wasn't perfect, obviously, but
All right.
it was
so here's
mainly
the
prioritizing using each Kong only once.
here's the 14 route I just came up with, which I would not be able to do myself, but
Mhm.
someone probably would be able to. First, start with Helm with DK, and then Aztec and Free Lanky with DK.
Yeah.
Then you go to Fungi and you tag Diddy in Fungi, and you get both fairies. Then you go back to Aztec to Free Tiny with Diddy.
Ah, interesting.
Then you go to Caves with Diddy and get 1 fairy.
Yeah.
Then you go to Japes and you end on Lanky.
Wait, you don't
You go
switch to Tiny in Caves? I guess
Well,
not.
I guess you could, but
But that's not this route. Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Then you go to Japes and you end on Lanky. You go to Factory and you end on Tiny. You do Fungi Lobby, Helm Lobby, all that stuff. You go to Caves. You
Right.
tag Chunky at some point after Caves or whatever.
And you've
Factory
already
Lobby.
done Tiny's Factory Fairy at this point, right? While you were in Factory.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
And then you do after with Chunky, you do Factory Lobby, and then you do Castle, which I'm pretty sure you can do with Chunky alone.
You can. I think a lot of the like
Can,
optimal
but-
routes, the difficulty is getting the Castle Tree Fairy with like either Lanky or Tiny or something like that.
And then you finish with Galleon. So that's 14 level entrances or tags and all of 20 fairies.
Yeah, I think I came up with another similar 14 that didn't have anything that like didn't have anything like TBS to get Diddy up to Fungi Lobby or anything like that.
I think I came up with 3 or 4 14s before finally coming up with something that was 13.
Oh
But
yeah,
I
the
will
other
say,
thing
Bismuth,
to
for your
mention is
route,
that-
you could have just done Castle with DK. There's no reason not to.
True, yeah.
Here's the 18 that I did.
Apes free
Okay.
Lanky.
Yeah, I'm really
Or-
curious to hear the 18 that
or
actually happened
free-
in the race.
Free Diddy. Free Diddy.
Okay.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Okay, so Aztec free Lanky, then Castle for both fairies,
Yep.
Japes to free Diddy.
Yep.
You switch to Lanky to finish the Japes
And
fairies.
at this point, I realized I should have saved Castle for Lanky.
Ah, I see.
I was considering
But-
re-entering Aztec as Diddy to go free Tiny, but I realized that if you enter Castle Kongs as Lanky, it's only one swap for Tiny.
Right. Yeah, that's
so yeah,
that's
there's
good
one
thinking.
mistake.
I made the same mistake in my route, I think.
Mhm.
Okay, so you basically re-enter Castle, free Tiny. That's a switch.
Yep.
And then I lost track already. Aztec Castle, Japes.
So after I just left Castle because I'd
Switch,
already done the
Castle.
fairies, went to Factory,
Tiny.
got both
Oh
fairies,
yeah,
thought I could free Chunky as Tiny.
yeah. Oops.
Turned out you can't. So I
Nope.
swapped to Lanky. I think I saw like in randos something like that happen. I don't
in
know.
Rando, it's randomized which Kong frees him, so
Right.
Yeah.
that's
So,
funny.
so yeah. So then I switched to Lanky, freed Chunky, switched to Chunky, went to Galleon, and did all that. And I meant to do Puff Toss on the first trip so I could get the Fungi Lobby, but I pause exited, and I was like, oh. So then I did a re-enter to Galleon,
that's
which is
rough.
another easy removal.
Yeah.
Switched to Diddy. I wanted to do Fungi first, do both as
I
Diddy.
imagine you did like Chunky's Primate Punch and Isles before Galleon or something like that.
Yeah, somewhere along the lines.
Yeah.
I think when I left Factory, switched to Chunky.
Yeah,
Did
that
the-
makes sense.
Factory Lobby. But yeah, so then I did 2 trips to Galleon. Then I did Diddy's and Caves, tried to do Tiny's Igloo, turns out it doesn't work. And I calced that it was better to leave Caves and finish the Diddy stuff than it would have been to switch to Tiny there on the spot.
That's really smart. I think that's something that put you ahead of other runners. A lot of other runners, when they realized, you know, they had not planned to like switch to another Kong for a
Right.
certain fairy, they tended to just switch to the Kong they needed and then switch back. But that's 2 additions.
Exactly.
Whereas if you leave and do the things that you needed to do
Exactly.
and then come back to the level, it's only a +1.
hmm
So that was, I think, what won you the race.
Yeah.
You know, other mistakes, you know,
Yeah.
not being considered.
So I'm pretty sure I got the 18, and if nobody else got 18, man, that feels real good. It's my first win.
Thought I got 18.
I think you did, Mumbo.
Oh, I can't
I'm
wait to
not
find out
Mumbo.
for sure.
It's also incredible because, like, I thought Corncob got the win, being the fastest 19,
hmm
and, like, if you didn't have an 18, you were coming in, like, 5th or something.
Right.
So, it was, like, it's very...
Do or die.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Well, this was exciting. We will, you know, double check the tallies and post at some point, either later
Can't
tonight
wait
or
to
tomorrow,
find out.
what the official results are. But I really thank everybody for joining tonight. I hope you didn't hate the challenge for being too difficult or anything, and I hope you won't hate the next one for being just as difficult.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was
So
awesome.
I'm guessing I ended up coming 3rd, which means I need to try hard again next week.
Oh no. Yeah, the playoff race is heating up. Like, there's definitely some slots up for grabs at the end. So, good luck, people, next week.
Yeah. Oh, and in case anyone missed the playoff format, we're gonna do top 4 by points are entering the playoffs, and we'll have 3 races. The first race will eliminate the last place finisher, and the second race will be the remaining 3 players, again eliminating whoever comes in third, and then a finals 1v1. Does that sound good to everyone?
Yeah.
Cool. I'll show the challenge image again to stream one last time. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed Fairy Efficient. The runners were very efficient, I had to say, and congrats to looks like Mumbotoken on a win, first win of the series.